I tell athletes all the time, you're either going to be an energy giver or you're going to be an energy taker today. Which one's it going to be? That's the same way with my son. I want him to have that approach to everything. I am concerned about being a good parent. I want to be a good dad. I want to be a role model and a hero. I'd love for my son when he's 15, 16 to be like, man, my dad's my hero. And I love that guy. As early on as I can, they know who my wife is, they know who my son is. And that's for every athlete I deal with to every sport coach I've ever dealt with. I want them to know that family is the most important thing to me. And I think by doing that, that says a lot about you. I think it says a lot about how devoted and structured and trustworthy and supportive that you can be. But then when I look in my son's eyes, there's a responsibility there, obviously. My son's looking, he's relying on me. He's relying on me to teach him the skills my parents taught him. And so teaching him to be friendly, teaching him to be empathetic and kind and generous. And I want him to be energetic and I want him to have good work ethic, but I want that work ethic to be steered in the direction of being generous. People should know about me that the most important thing to me is my family.
This is how we do it, do it. This is how a kingdom comes. This is how we get it done. This is how we do it, do it. This is how a kingdom comes. This is how we do it, do it.
Hey guys, welcome to the city that never sleeps, Las Vegas, Nevada. Super excited to be out here, coming to visit a friend of mine, Bo Sandoval. He applied for a position I had open at South Florida about 15, 16 years ago, and being the dummy that I am, I let him get away and went a different direction, but I've stayed in contact with him through the years, just watched him build an incredible career, with stops all over the place, but he has accepted a position with the UFC to run the Performance Institute, and it's an incredible facility. It's an incredible job to have, and a big responsibility working with the best fighters in the world. So I know you're excited. I'm excited. Let's go check this place out. There he is.
What's up, man?
What's up, man?
Good to see you.
Good to see you, brother.
Absolutely.
Yeah, this is incredible.
Yeah, dude, welcome to the UFC headquarters.
Man, I can't wait to check it out.
Absolutely, let's do it. Yeah, so one of the key things about this place is the convenient logistics for the athletes. A lot of thought went through the design. These guys, when they were building this, they traveled to over 60 different high-performance training centers worldwide. And one of the biggest things that they noticed from some of the really high-end ones was the ability to get to and from places as an athlete. As we know, the last thing an athlete wants to do when they're tired is go all the way across campus to go get a bite to eat or to go do some recovery. So our locker rooms are kind of the center point. We have men's and women's locker rooms here. Quickly, within 50 feet, they can access our recovery area, food or our fueling station. They can get the physical therapy, strength and conditioning, and then up to the MMA floor as well. So yeah, the Performance Institute is a 30,000 square foot facility that sits on top of an over 15-acre chunk of property that is the UFC headquarters. So as we come into the main weight room floor, one of the things as a practitioner, probably one of the most valuable things is the fact that I share a wall with our director of physical therapy. This is our cardio area. The woodway treadmills play a huge role. Low impact running is critical, developing the cardiovascular system. As we move into the weight room area, we have our dumbbell area. Iron Grip's been a great partner for us with outfitting our dumbbells and some of our free weights as well for a few of our machines.
What's it mean to you to be a strength coach?
Whew, man, it's my dream. It's everything. I targeted strength and conditioning and being a good practitioner early. I found an internship with Charlie Dudley at Southern Mississippi when I was a freshman in college. So I got to spend my entire undergrad in graduate school knowing this is what I was going to do for a living. You know, I was fortunate to work in the collegiate setting for the majority of the time. I worked for the USOC, and now working with these professional athletes within the UFC, it's still the same mission. I want to give them just the most unbelievable experience that they can. The only way to do that is, one, you got to be passionate. And that's something I try to show every day. But the other thing is education. Like, you know, you've got to be well versed in the scientific literature and being able to support what you're doing, because everything that we do needs to have very direct intent. You know, these athletes don't have time to waste. And so there's got to be some direct intent and something that's going to influence performance in everything that they do. And that's something I want to be able to ensure with them. And I can only do that through continuing education. You can never have too many tools in your toolbox.
Right.
If it fills up, man, build a bigger toolbox. Like, you know, that's the thing. Because ultimately we're problem solvers. And that's kind of how I see myself. So athlete comes in, we need to evaluate them. What's in front of us? What are the problems we need to solve? Oh, I have a tool for that. I've got an experience from back in the past that's prepared me to deal with that. And that's something that will be ongoing until the day I finally, you know, take my coaching shorts off and hang it up. I don't know when that'll be, but.
This job is different than most of the jobs in the fight world, because most, you know, coaches are team identified. You know, that they're specifically with a certain fighter or a certain team, and there's almost that kind of competitiveness that naturally exists when you're on one team and you're going against another. Here, you're on the team of UFC, and you got fighters that are fighting each other, and you're working with each one of them. You know, how has that proved both, you know, rewarding and difficult?
One of the biggest things that you have to do to take that on, because absolutely, I mean, I've had two fighters that are fighting each other that upcoming weekend, and I've had them both in separate sessions that same week. Emotionally, you've got to be able to kind of disconnect and step back a little bit. You've also got to be able to 100% invest when you've got that person in front of you, and you've got that athlete in front of you. So when they're in front of me, they're the most important thing to me. I want them to have confidence not only in their preparation and the path that we've taken, but I want them having confidence in the personnel and the support system behind them. So we have to be diligent, and we have to do a great job of not only ensuring to that athlete and their team, their coaches, that the utmost care is going to be centered around confidentiality and making sure that what is discussed and what has gone into planning and training is strictly between us. Ultimately, I'm here to help you be successful and to have the absolute best experience as a professional athlete that you could imagine. It's definitely not easy. You know, when we watch fights, a lot of times we try to watch fights in private. You know, I don't want to, because it's tough not to get emotional when you see a guy that you've been working with, now he's going at it. It's tough not to hope he does good. Then it's even harder, you got two guys that are fighting each other and you've worked with both of them.
Right.
And now you're like, it's not that I'm rooting for either one, I want them to both be successful.
Sure.
I want them to both have the time of their life when they're in there, a great experience. So a lot of times I just, you know, we watch it at someone's house and we're on our own, but that way no one can see me acting like an idiot or cheering or getting excited or getting emotional or anything else. So it is difficult by all means, but that's what they pay us to do.
You know, we both share the fact that we raise a child that's got special needs. You know, he's on the autism spectrum. My daughter has autism as well. And what is having a child with special needs? I mean, it's all we know, right? It's what we know. But what do you think that's taught you about being a better coach?
Humility and empathy. If you're empathetic and if you're humble, by nature you'll be patient. Yeah. If you're not, then your patience will suffer. And I think we have to have a certain degree of patience depending on what situation we're dealing with, which athlete we're dealing with. You know, some athletes, they're ready to hit the throttle right from the go, and you know, those are usually easy. And then some of them, you've got to have a conversation. You have to have a certain level of relationship to really be able to connect with them. And when you have a child with special needs, every little basic step or every basic task that we normally do, it takes a little extra time. It takes a little extra coaching. It takes a little extra information sharing. And he's really taught me that. I mean, I would say I'd have the patience to deal with just about anything now. You never quit trying to put an effort into, you know, figuring out better ways to teach him and better ways to nurture him. And when you have that skill set, it's easy to take some of those tools and use it in a coaching scenario.
Early in your career, you were part of, you know, a natural disaster with Katrina and affecting your, you know, I think you had 6 feet of water in your home, you know, during that. And now you're out here for 4 months and one of the worst devastating incidents in U.S. history happens. You know, how has being a part of those two things impacted you as a person, and how have you seen the community here be Vegas strong?
Sure. You know, seeing the devastation more so than my parents went through. I was out of the house by then. I'd finished graduate school. I was on to my first job. One of the things that I saw was toughness. I saw it everywhere. I saw, you know, people talk in athletics all the time about dealing with adversity, and you know, you're going to take your punches, you're going to take your lumps. How are you going to get back up and overcome? And I watched my mom and my stepdad do that almost overnight. I mean, it was unbelievable how tough they were, and it was amazing. And so it taught me a lot about resilience. It taught me a lot about, you know, taking not quitting to a whole nother level. With the really horrifying and disgusting act that went on here just a couple weeks ago, you know, a natural disaster is one thing. Something that is being inflicted by another human being, that's troublesome. That hits you on a different level. What I saw was the same kind of resiliency that I saw in my parents with Katrina. I saw people just turn around and show immediate toughness and immediate resiliency, and just the relentlessness to not say, I quit. You know, it just wouldn't do it. So when people say Vegas strong, and you know, that's been the coined term that's been going around, you know, it's hashtagged, it's all over the place. It is an unparalleled strength. It's unbelievable. Some of the people that were right in the middle of it, some of the people that actually took bullets, you know, they're up and they're talking about it. Right. It's unbelievably amazing. It's given us a lot of encouragement to know that we're surrounded by a community like that. It's also given us encouragement about, you know, there's still a ton of good human beings in this world.
Man, this is cool. Well, man, this has been awesome. Thanks so much for having us out.
Absolutely, it was an absolute
Incredible.
pleasure. Absolute
incredible
pleasure.
Couple of days, just spending time with your family and seeing the team environment here. And there's no doubt that they got the right guy in you, man. I appreciate you.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. It was a pleasure to be able to show you guys kind of what we're working on, and to be able to give you know, coaches a chance to get an inside look. We couldn't wait to showcase it. So glad to have you out.
That's awesome, man. Thanks so much.
You got it.
Take care, buddy.
Absolutely. Take care.
Man, what a great couple of days. You know, get a chance to see behind the curtain a little bit of all the great things that the UFC is doing, to tour a fantastic facility and meet some great people, and most importantly, just to hang out with Bo and his family, and just, you know, get a chance to see all the great things that he's doing. Really appreciate those of you that like, share, and comment on these episodes each month. It just continues to help us promote the great coaches that we have in the field. Be sure to check back next month for the next episode of Beyond the Chalk.
The thing that I would hope that they say the most is that I was always there for them.
The kind words that those kids had to say about him, you're like, okay. So you're not just like going to work at 5:30 in the morning to like train these guys. You truly are like having an impact on them as a human being. And I think it's huge. You're leaving the world better than you found it. You're not just like making people strong.